let's formally get started.
Sure. Is everybody in frame? Everybody ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock.
Are you in a cosplay or are you a doctor?
I am in a cosplay. I know I'm not a doctor, but I am a nurse.
Okay. All right, cool. I have a lot of nurse friends back at home.
Awesome.
All right, well, let's rock and roll. I don't want to wait too much time.
All right.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to California Adventures Blog, our interview with Caleb Hyles.
Hello.
Yeah, we had to work on that for a little bit.
Don't worry. Hyles, Hyles, I get all of them, so you nailed it. Hyles,
so, ultimately, the first question I have is, what made you want to be a cover artist?
Yeah, well, being a cover artist kind of stumbled into it, you know? I was singing songs for fun, singing cover songs for fun on the internet for years. Back in like 2010 through 2012, and then in 2014 I did a viral hit of Let It Go, and from the Disney Frozen, and it did really well. So, and people started wanting more Disney songs, things like that. So I just kept with it. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I really want to be a cover artist. It just sort of happened. And it became the thing that I did predominantly. Oh. So yeah, that's how it happened.
I do want to touch on that really quick.
Sure.
Your cover, Let It Go.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that it was going viral?
Yeah. Probably about a week in, because it hit 1 million in a week, or 2 weeks actually. And I had local news stations contact me. 2014 virality is different than 2021 virality. Like, 1 million views in 2 weeks is like nothing right now.
Yeah.
But in 2014. In Alabama, it was a big deal. So I think probably a week in, realized it was getting traction, a lot more comments than I ever got. The views were going up. I was getting new subscribers, all that business. Yeah. So I'd say about a week in, it became apparent that this is different than my other releases. Now, what it would lead to, I had no idea. Didn't know about it. It was one of the leading Let It Go covers at the time.
And do you have any general advice for those who are into content creation and then they realize that their media is going viral?
Viral.
Yeah, like when you see that point, like, oh my God, it's going viral.
Yeah. I think when it's going viral, something's going viral that you've done. I think you have to be ready to like continue that thing, and not be like, if you went viral, like the very thing that you're doing, whatever it may be, whatever you're passionate about, if you did a particular video and it did very well, then I think you have to be ready to lean into that content. Lean into what was good about that video and do that. That doesn't mean that's all you do, but clearly it went viral for a reason. People liked it. People thought it was cool. So maybe a little bit more of that, maybe some different branches of similar kind of material. That'd be my best advice, is if you're actually serious about pursuing it, lean into what made it good, made it blow up in the first place. That doesn't mean you only do that forever and all eternity, but maybe for the time being, because that's what I did with Let It Go. And it worked for me. Clearly, the branch, the degree of separation was Disney. So do more Disney songs. Do Hunchback of Notre Dame. Do Mulan. Do Be a Man. Because that's what people kind of wanted. So it worked out for me in that way. That'd be my advice.
It did until last night.
Yeah, until last night. Until last night when I needed to let it go. And someone said, sing Let It Go. I was like, I did not bring a track to sing Let It Go.
So we did an acapella.
So we're going to do an acapella of Let It Go.
And
it was in the lower key, too. I did it in the lower key. I was not about to sing in the regular key. I'm not trying to blow my voice out.
It was
we got the one cover. That's all you get.
It is like, all right, I think we got that out of our system.
Yeah, everyone get Let It Go out of your system. You were forced through it. Because when I tried to do Let It Go back in the day, like several years ago, I'd get a mixture of like, woohoo, and then groans. Because people were tired of the song. So I'm trying to have everybody be happy, So I kind of worked that out of my set list. But it is what it is. People had a good time. That's what matters. People had a good time.
So, as you became viral, everybody needs help every now and then.
Sure, yeah.
Who was the first major personality to recognize you for your talent, and how did that help in developing your career?
Oh, geez, that's an interesting question. Who noticed you and helped develop the career? Lots of people wrote comments, Okay. Ryan Seacrest put me on one of his lists for like top Let It Go covers. Tyler Oakley back in the day noticed me and wrote a comment. Brian Hull, another amazing YouTube personality. Linda Kathleen Reese, another one. And what happened with a couple of those, because when you get noticed by like Time or Rolling Stones and get put in an article, it's really neat, but they're not going to work with you to develop you. That's when collaborations come into play. That's when finding people who are kind of at the same level as you to grow with you. So Brian Hull, Melinda Kathleen Reese, Jonathan Young, these were people who were coming up at the same time as me and did covers of Let It Go or covers of Be a Man. And we sort of, we collaborated a lot together. We had conversations. So I would say, yeah, Brian Hole, Melinda Kathleen Reese, and Jonathan Young were some of the first people I worked with on YouTube who recognized me and I recognized them, and we grew together. And now it's very fortunate to say, actually, that all of us have successful channels, you know, so we kind of leaned on one another during that period of time, collaboratively and creatively. It was good.
Speaking of channels, so your music is available on platforms such as YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All those.
Yes. What platforms have you found that are the most vital to spreading the word of your covers?
Oh, sure, yeah. The most vital, and I would interchangeably use the word vital with lucrative. You get the right idea. You get the idea. But like just to be like straight and blunt, Spotify, Apple Music, these are the two most vital, most lucrative. Because they're systems that they're developing, right? Like Spotify, Apple Music, even Amazon Music now, and even YouTube Music to some degree. But that's a whole other conversation for YouTube Music and Google Play and their merging and what that meant for everyone. Point aside, Spotify in particular is really trying things out. They're doing a lot of new things, and the mechanisms they have in place to promote your music are far more, they're just further along than other streaming services. And that probably is due in part to the fact that they've cornered the market pretty well. They are like the predominant. They're not a monopoly by any stretch of the word. There's a lot of competitors, but their sheer amount of market share and early entry into streaming music has given them such an advantage over everybody else. And that's just a general statement, not just for cover artists, but for music as a whole. But then again, it is saturated. There's so many artists on Spotify, and money has to be coughed up if you want to get noticed, or you have to be on another platform and have an audience there. So in a lot of ways, Spotify is my vehicle, not the thing that's driving the music. It's like I just use it for other things. But anyway, Spotify's great. Okay. Spotify's a good one.
Talking about platforms.
Sure.
The Twitch team Peace, Love, and Gaming was announced back on October 20th, promising to deliver creative collaborative content on the platform.
Yes, sir.
What are some upcoming projects your team will be working on?
Yeah, Twitch Teams was an idea that I was introduced into because of VShojo, VTubing teams. I didn't know about teams until that. So Twitch Teams, and I was like, well, I want to make a team. And I had a good buddy of mine, Blue Jay, his name's Jason. He's been streaming forever. He's really good at it, really creative. He has a friend of his named Daisy, who is also really creative and loves streaming. And we all have different things we do and we like to do. So we figured we could put our three brains together, do some fun projects together, but also the idea of a kind of content, a vibe, whatever it might be, a section rather, and also Vine Sauce. That's another team we were inspired by. Just trying to get a group of gamers and personalities together who have different things they do, but you know the kind of energy and the personality and the experience you're going to get when you go to any of our streams. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to get a positive experience. You're going to get a welcoming experience. You're going to get an encouraging experience. It's not going to be too angry. It's not going to be too edgy. It's just going to be a good, wholesome time, you know, and it's going to be a great, welcoming community. So an opportunity for me to explore community and what that means outside of my YouTube channel, and also have the opportunity to lift up some really good friends of mine and have them develop their communities as well. So collaboratively, we're working on projects together. We're going to do a D&D one-shot at some point very soon. One of our Daisy does a lot of horror streams, so do some collaborative horror games and just chatting streams too. Like we try to do stuff that's welcoming, inviting, and encouraging. So yeah, but thanks for asking about that, man. Peace, love, and gaming is gonna be really cool. We're hoping to expand the team, you know, gradually, incrementally, kind of like Vine Sauce. But right now, we're happy with where we're at, and it's going really well. So we're gonna keep working on it, keep working towards making it good.
Side comment: I like how you mentioned VShojo.
Yeah.
And I loved your collab with Ironmouse.
Thank you. She's phenomenal. She really is. It was a really great cover. The instrumentalist knocked it out of the park. The whole project was amazing. The artist, like, that just came together so wonderfully. And Ironmouse is a phenomenal vocalist. Anybody who watches her knows it's a second to none. We're working on another one right now. It's really cool. Like, look, listen. My Womo is really good.
It is good.
And she's really good at it. But if anyone's watched her, you know she has a voice that's like, it's broad strokes. Like, she can do a lot with it. So, we got the 5 minutes. We're doing good on time, though. We're knocking things out.
All right.
but she's got an incredible operatic voice. And so we're leaning into that next cover, and people are going to be excited because it's really good.
Talking about an operatic voice and vocal development.
Yeah.
I noticed in your bio that you were actually in choir back in the day in high school.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
So what was your role in choir, and how did that choir experience help shape you to your how you are today?
Yeah, sure. I mean, choir was very important to me. I was thrown into the church choir when I was growing up. I was in the South, so I got put in the church choir. And now it was really great. Like, I loved it. I hated it growing up. I didn't like any of my time going anywhere other than video games and like baseball. So anything taken away from that was not fun. But as I got older, I realized that the fundamentals learned in choir, projection, breath control, blending your voices with others, reading music, being given direction and following it, pitch, hearing all that, it's vital. And it's stuff that as a singer you take for granted. I took for granted because I didn't have to learn it, so to speak. I grew up with it, and I had really good teachers. So choir was fundamental for laying the groundwork, for being able to work with everybody easily, to being able to hear music and like sing it well and be able to interpret music how I want without having to worry too much about, okay, well, how much should I project here? Is this note correct? Am I hearing it right? Do I need to, like, I didn't have to think about all that because my time in choir answered and laid out fundamentals for me over a span of like decades. So I would recommend everybody, if you can help it, do choir, man. Do choir. If you want to do vocals, go find a choir. They're not only in church, so go find a choir. Do that. It'll help you immensely. And you work with people. It teaches you to be collaborative. It teaches you how to blend. I mean, that more than anything. The working with people. To be bigger than yourself. Create something together. That's special. That's what's special.
Now, I used to be in choir back in the day.
Okay, nice.
And I'm pretty sure we have this shared experience.
All right.
You probably have heard it in the music room.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, guys. If you had to ban one Idinia Menzel song from ever being sung again by a soprano, which one should it
be? Look, I love Idinia. I
love her too.
I went and saw If Then on Broadway when it opened. So I'm like a big stan of Idinia. If I had to ban one, I don't know, man. They're all good.
I know they're all good, but I'm tired.
What about you? You answer.
Okay. It's between Defying Gravity.
All right, that's like the obvious choice.
Yeah. And probably Let It Go, because
Let It Go. Okay, okay. Then I will answer with you. Let's go with Let It Go.
Okay, Let It Go.
Let's Let It Go. One because first of all, I mean, I covered it and I did my thing. It went viral. Idinia did her thing. It's hard. It's a hard song for a soprano. It's an insanely hard song for a tenor. And that note at the end where you jump to that note, it's so unnatural. Like, it's not a natural thing to do for your voice. It's only a handful of notes, but we're talking about a general singer's range, their width. It passes through a passaggio that's very common, and it's difficult. It sits difficultly on almost everyone's voice. I would just get rid of it. It's great, but like, it's fine. Like, we don't have to do it well, right? We don't have to do it. I didn't do it. I stopped doing it. You can too. You can quit. Let it go.
You can let it go. Let it go.
You can let go of Let It Go. I did, and you can too. I promise it'll be okay. I promise. Hey, and if you're one of the people who can do it well, more power to you. You are one of literally 100,000 who can do it well. So keep it up. More power. Sing a lot of other songs at that point. If you can knock Let It Go out of the park, I got news. The world's open for you. The world's open to you. It's so hard.
So I think the opposite question I want to ask, what's one musical you think should have more presence?
More presence?
That should have more, like, what do you think is something a musical we need to listen to more of, or you feel needs more attention?
More attention. I'm not as plugged into Broadway world as I should be, but there's a couple of old musicals that need to be remade. There's a musical called Carousel by, I think it's Rodgers and Hammerstein, or maybe I'm forgetting, but that's a fun one that needs to get remade. I know A Music Man's getting remade. Oh, really? That's going to be fun. Hugh Jackman's in it.
Oh.
And he's just, everything he touches is gold. So I'd say that one needs a little bit more attention. So oldies. I want to bring some oldies back. Modernize the older ones because we just didn't see them. We didn't know about them. Broadway was a pretty enclosed space, but now the world is expanding and Netflix and movies and films. Like, bring back some of the older ones so we can see them because there's so much of old Broadway that this generation, millennials included, don't know about. That's what I would do. The whole dang thing. Bring it all back.
Oh, definitely.
Would you consider auditioning for Broadway?
No. No, it's because I actually performed at a cabaret on Broadway, and I met a lot of Broadway performers.
Yeah.
And the one thing they all said, it was like 7 of them, and I said, "What's the hardest part about this job?" Because I was curious, because at that time it was like 3 years ago. They all said the loneliness. Like, no, it's real sad, it's real dark. It's like they said like the loneliness. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we don't see our families. We don't go home. This is what we do. 7 days a week, 3 shows every day. And we're trying to all fight. We're going to auditions. We're making little money. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't worth it. Like, that's when people tell me you got to love Broadway. You got to love it to do it. It's because...